joining us all the way from New Jersey.
The wickedly talented one and only Zany.
The real Sam Alkhatib.
What's up, guys?
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, boys. Appreciate it.
I hope you
be here.
I hope you like that intro.
I loved it more than anything. Best intro I've ever had.
Oh man, see, this is exactly why you probably haven't really listened to any of the stuff that we've done. We haven't been doing the whole grabbing someone and have them come on the show thing for all that long, but
Sure.
we really do kind of just like having just off the cuff just conversations with people, because honestly, I think that's sometimes you really just like that, just hearing just everybody just talking about whatever, you can relate to what they're doing.
Absolutely. Just people.
And that's
yeah.
And I think that's really why I like a lot of your content, Sam, because for our listeners who haven't watched Sam's content before, it's very slice of life and also very highbrow, almost like art house cinema, scenes. It's really cool.
It's really interesting.
It's very all over the place. I will say that. You got one video where I'm just sitting around a table talking about snacks, and the next I have sad guitar in the background talking about some crazy nonsense that happens in my life. You know what I mean? It's I don't even know how it got to that point, really. It's just one of those things where I was just having fun doing what I'm doing, and it progressed into what it was, And
awesome.
Very quickly, you're on TikTok and Instagram. You both use the same handle there, the real Sam Alkhatib.
Yes.
And combined 3 million followers across both accounts.
Yes, absolutely. I'm as shocked as everybody else that it got to that.
Yeah. How recent was that? Because I feel like it was the other day I was looking and it wasn't that high. And then I looked back at the show notes. It's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it kind of, I had different explosions at different times on both platforms. In fact, as we're speaking now, when you guys first reached out, I probably had 8,000 subscribers on YouTube. As of right now, I have 850,000 subscribers on YouTube. So it just that took off as well.
Nice.
But with TikTok, it started out, I jumped from maybe 100,000 to 500,000, and then 500,000 to 800,000, then 800,000 to 1.7 million. Now I'm at 2 million.
Crazy how that works.
It's very crazy. I'm still trying to figure it out myself, how it works. And same with Instagram, it's just kind of a slow climb. And then all of a sudden it just ramped up and boom, here I am. I think it really takes, I've heard it a lot when I was doing my research back in the day, but then now that I've experienced it, I can attest to it. It really takes just, you have good content, you put it out there consistently. And then as long as you have a nice backlog of videos, once one of them does really well, people will start to check out your other videos. And if it's fairly similar to the video that did well, those will do well. And then the algorithm will go, oh, hey, everybody's watching these videos. Let's send them out to a bunch of people, see if everybody likes them. And then if they do, it's just, it's like compound interest, man. You know what I mean? It just keeps on going. So
take notes, everybody. Remember, that's going to be on the quiz.
I'm taking notes, man.
Yeah, listen, because I've been trying to get the courage up to start something, any idea that I have, and show it to people and be consistent with it. So I'm always enamored with people who create content, and what really sparked that for you? How did you even stumble upon this?
Sure. So for me, it's a bit of a long story that I'll try to condense as much as possible. So I first started out, I was always making videos ever since college. I'm 32 now. So when I was about 18, 19, I started making videos. YouTube was getting really popular. This was around 2009, 2010. It was out for a little bit, but it started really getting popular. People started seeing the power of it. I'd always made little sketch videos and silly things and me playing the piano and all sorts of that early YouTube stuff. And it never really did well. I was just kind of doing it for fun. And then later in life, after college, I did the whole work thing and, lived my life and kind of put that down for a while. And then COVID happened, probably a pretty similar story for a lot of content creators. COVID happened and I suddenly had a lot of free time. Even though I was a teacher at the time, we were working from home. Nothing was open. Once work was done, I was in my house. The second work was over, no commute. So I just kind of started thinking of ways to occupy my time. And I said, hey, man, I used to really love making videos. Why don't we get back into that? And I thought, what could I do that could be something that's good for me and gets my, creative juices flowing? And I thought, why don't I just, take a video camera, walk around, record myself going to my favorite places. I was on Staten Island at the time. And so I did that. I took my Handycam. It was just an old school Handycam with like a little memory card in it. Went over to a place in Staten Island called Clove Lakes, one of the parks over there. Walked around, filmed myself, said, hey, I used to go here. Hey, here's this pond. Hey, check out this tree. Maybe made a 10, 15-minute video. Posted it. People kind of liked it. I was like, okay, let's do this again. I started going to a few more places, called the channel The Real Staten Island, which was where I'm from. And, just kind of kept doing that. Built a fairly decent following for a very niche, very specific channel about Staten Island. How many people around the world are really going to want to watch videos about a guy from Staten Island walking around Staten Island? Really just Staten Islanders. But even with that demographic, I managed to grow to about 1,200, 1,500 subscribers.
Wow.
And, which is pretty good for something that specific. That caught my attention, So I was like, you know what? There's really something to this. Let's go forward with it. And then all of a sudden, there was this little app that everybody started talking about over COVID called TikTok. And a friend of mine was like, hey, man, you should totally post little clips of your YouTube videos to TikTok, see how they do. And at the time, I was like, nah, that's for kids. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into all that. I'm just going to keep making my YouTube videos. And then the more research I did, I downloaded the app kind of just to see. At the time, TikTok was the Wild West. It was just like everything, anything, and all sorts of crazy stuff. But I started paying attention to the more serious creators and like seeing what they were doing. And I saw, you know what? People are actually doing well on here, and why don't I give it a shot? So I took my friend's advice. I started clipping up little pieces of my YouTube videos, posting them on there. And one of my clips got 5 million views.
Woo!
And yeah, I was like, oh my God. And this is coming from somebody who, if I got 500 views on a video, I walked around like, I am the greatest YouTuber on planet.
Yeah. What is that like feeling when you see that number for the first time? What does that feel like?
Absolutely mind blown. You know what I mean? Especially when, you should never make videos for views. I will start with that. But at the same time, it is a little bit of, it's gratifying to see. It's like, wow, you put something out there that people are enjoying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Regardless of like the accolade aspect of it, like that's truly what it represents. If that many people are being shown that video, that means a lot of people are enjoying it in some way. And I was like, that's really cool. I got maybe 1,000 subscribers, 2,000 subscribers, or I guess followers on TikTok from just that. And then I was like, okay, let's just keep posting little clips of my YouTube videos. No other ones really did as well as that, or even close to really. So then I started getting the idea, I started getting some confidence. I was like, what if I started making some original content just for TikTok? Kept the channel name The Real Staten Island. Was going around Staten Island, posting little clips. I had people asking me, oh, you should go to this restaurant in Staten Island and and show yourself outside of it. So I started doing that. Those videos started doing well because then people would start commenting their places that they wanted me to go. I would pick one, I would reply to it. I would go to a different restaurant, I'd go to a different spot, and I was just going back and forth. Got to maybe 10,000 followers doing that. And then this is where things really started to change for me. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, if you've scrolled all the way down on my videos. Have you seen any of the train videos that I've done? The toy trains?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So it's all connected. That's why I give this big speech in the front, because it's all really connected. I was doing all this Staten Island stuff. And then this guy, Zach, from Staten Island, he is the inventor of those trains. They're called the Zany Trains.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
He was a follower of mine.
Huh.
He reached out. He was like, hey, man, you have a channel called The Real Staten Island. I bet a lot of your followers are from Staten Island. I have these toy trains that are based out of Staten Island. You know, he kind of had like a spoof off of Thomas the Tank Engine. Thomas and Friends is from like Sodor Island or something like that. I'm not sure the specifics. I didn't really watch too much, but you know, he was like, okay, we have Thomas and Friends from Sodor, something like that. And then we have the Zany Trains from Staten Island. So he came up with this concept. He created the trains. He said, hey, man, I would love it if you could show my toy trains to your followers, you know? And I was like, absolutely, man. You know what I mean? Like that's so cool that you're doing this. You know, it's very on brand with my channel. I have a channel about Staten Island. You have these toys from Staten Island. It's perfect. I was like, send me one of each. Buy me a train track set, like a wooden train set. He did all of that. He came over to my house. He gave me the stuff. And I looked at these toy trains and I was like, what in God's name am I going to do with these toy trains? What did I get myself into? This poor guy. Like, I was like, am I going to make it like a commercial where like I just hold up the toy trains and be like, hey guys, buy Zany Train? I didn't want to do any of that. So, you know, I kind of wanted to be creative with it. I was like, you know what? What if I had these little toy trains have a conversation, you know? So I set them up in a circle on the train track. I had them all there. I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, they're from Staten Island. What if they said some like Staten Island stuff, you know? So like things people from Staten Island would say. So I had one, you know, say like, Maron, these tracks are worse than the Staten Island Expressway. And then I had another one go like, hey, you want anything from the deli? And then another one like, hey, which way is Victory Boulevard? You know what I mean? And just random lines, no real context to it. And you know, I voiced all of them because I was the only person in my house making videos. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and recorded a bunch of lines, showed shots of all the little trains, clipped it up, edited it up, and posted it. And it got 1 million views.
And you made the news too. You made SILive.com.
I did. I saw that. That's the local paper in Staten Island. Yes, they took notice. Absolutely. It was very flattering that they did that for us. You know.
Now, do you think that helped fuel the interest, or was it just taking off on its own, and you didn't need the local newspaper to?
No, I certainly didn't need the local newspaper, simply because, you know, a lot of my audience doesn't really read the local news. You know what I mean? Like Staten Island, it's called the Staten Island Advance. That's what SI Live, the paper print copy of it is. Mm-hmm. It's anybody who's really reading that. It wasn't on TikTok and things like that. You know, the article itself, it was flattering to have it there. They put a little video of me on their site. But, you know, I was kind of already doing well at that point. You know what I mean? Mm. But what that really did for me, that whole experience with the toy trains, is it was really the jumping off point for me to get to where I am today. You know, I owe my friend Zach, he's my friend now, all the credit in the world for reaching out to me with those little toy trains, because what you'll notice is with those toy train videos, as I kept making them, I started, in the beginning, it was just random lines they were saying, no real context to it. The first one got 1 million views, but every video after that got less and less views simply because there was no structure to it. And then one day I got the idea, what if I had them talking about specific topics? I had them talk about different types of bagels, different types of pizza, different things to get from McDonald's, and only talking about that. And each of them had their own opinion, And I was like, okay, there's something to this. Those videos started doing better than the first sets of videos. Then those started to die down. And I was like, man, what is it about these videos that they're just not really sticking and holding that same weight that they did in the beginning? And I thought, you know what? It's probably the fact that it's just images of toy trains sitting there doing nothing with a voice over them. So I was like, what if I had actual people having these conversations? So I took my very first table talk, which is the one where it's me dressed up as all the different characters.
Mm-hmm.
The very first video I made is literally the audio from a toy train video I made. And I just lip synced it.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh,
I
interesting.
on iced teas, and I made that one. And that one not only did well in views, it got a lot of engagement. That was the thing that really made me start to go, okay, this is, not only were people watching it, they were liking it, they were commenting on it, they were sharing it, because they could relate to a person more than they could a little toy train.
Yeah, you cracked the code. You figured it out.
Yeah. So, and then from there, the ball's just really been rolling, man. And
nice.
Here I am. Yeah.
Now, that's awesome.
Do you think Staten Island gets a bad rep in the media just because it's not as lively as its borough counterparts?
Absolutely, 100%. Listen, at the end of the day, it's all fun. Sometimes it goes a little too far. Like in the 5 boroughs, people kind of, pick on Staten Island sometimes. They go, Staten Island, the forgotten borough, this and that. If Pennsylvania was invading Staten Island, the other 4 boroughs would be there in 5 seconds going, not today. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things, like it is what it is. We were always kind of the smaller borough, the least populated borough. We really only got a bigger population once the Verrazano Bridge was built in the 60s. That's when people were able to live there and then go work in the city or go work in Brooklyn, So we were all just the least populated kind of like farm country, suburban kind of area. And then, we kind of grew and we were like, hey, we're also part of New York City. And everybody else was like, no, you're not. You know what I mean? So,
that's what I feel like New Jersey and New York are. The unknown truth is like, I feel that people dunking on each other is just like a different expression of love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, at the end of the day, we all got each other's backs. Staten Island says stuff about Brooklyn all the time. Brooklyn screaming over the bridge saying, get out of here to Staten. Like, same thing with New Jersey and New York as a whole. Mm-hmm. We all mess around with each other, but at the end of the day, we got each other's backs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You mentioned that you're a teacher. How do your students feel knowing that their teacher is a TikTok social media superstar?
They love it, man. They love it more than anything. And I love it more than anything, honestly. Like in the beginning, it was a little like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You post this video and then you got to go into work tomorrow. You're like, man, did everybody see these videos? And then like, once you get used to it and all the kids, like, they fire me up, man. They're like, Mr. Alkhatib, I love your videos, man. That's so great. You know what I mean? Like it's really an awesome thing. Imagine, like, the way I can describe it, imagine you are, in middle school, you're 12, 13, 14, right? And you turn on the TV and on one of your favorite shows is your teacher. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's cool.
you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what they're doing. They're going home, they're opening up their favorite app to just watch some entertainment, and up pops their teacher. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like back in my, oh, I can't believe I'm going to say back in my day, but like,
You have to say it like this. Back in my day.
Which is comical because we're all the same age here.
Right. I'm like
Yeah,
somehow
well-
I'm older than you, Sam. I don't understand it.
yeah. I'm 37. So I think I can say back, but like when you went to like a grocery store and you saw your teacher in the grocery store, you're like, oh, like you're a person, you're real.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
You don't just, go to the basement, sit in our coffins, and
What I love though is like I don't think I've told you guys this, but whenever I meet adults now who are teachers, I can immediately tell what grade that they must teach. And like before I even knew that Sam was a middle school teacher, is like, oh, he's a middle school teacher, has to be. He's like he's got the energy, he's cool. Cause like if there was like I don't know how to describe it, but like you can tell.
He's happy a lot. He's sad a lot. He's a middle school teacher. Absolutely.
Yeah, and like
Exactly.
man, I vibed what you said really hard because I feel like that's the age that, and especially if they're hearing this right now and you relate to this, it's okay, it gets better. But like that's the age when things don't make sense. That's the age when things are like crazy. That's the age when you find things you like, you're afraid to be and like the things that you like, even though there's like archetypes and things out there. But like things eventually will make sense, even if it's a jungle gym and it's a labyrinth. But like that's kind of why, like, I don't know, if I was ever a teacher, I would want to be a middle school teacher because like that was the time in my life that I probably needed the most, and I probably didn't get it.
100%. I love that I get to be, somewhat of a role model to some of these kids. You know what I mean? It's like there's also the aspect that I thought about later as I kind of started doing better. Some of these kids like want to be YouTubers and TikTokers.
All of them want to be.
Most of them, like a lot of them at least. And it's like I started thinking about the fact, like, wow, like they get to see a real human being who does that. Like, it doesn't have to be like this. When we were younger, we thought like if you were in a movie or you made a song or on a show, like you were just this superhuman elite above everybody else sort of person. And it's just like, to do what I do, you can just be a regular person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I love that they get to see that firsthand. And I try to tell them that all the time. It's just like whatever you want to do, really, just give it a try and see what happens. You don't have to just go give up your life and hope it works out. Just do what you're doing and have some fun and see what happens.
Yeah. I think like what you were, because my mother taught middle school. She taught special education, and she would always have me come in and talk to her students about like what I did. I also make YouTube videos, but I do a lot of different things. Like I love comedy. I'm obsessed with comedy, so I love doing that. But I would always come in and talk to the kids, and I think like they all were like, "Oh, like that's what I want to do," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool." Like it's hard to like explain to like the kids like, you really have to be passionate about it. Like you can't just do something because it's popular. You can't just like go chasing something. And I think like that's where I can see in your video, like it really shines that you really like doing this stuff. Like you really like making these things, because I don't know what it is, but you can tell when somebody's like doing something for the views or like the follows and doing it because they are actually entertaining themselves or they're happy doing it.
I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate that you noticed that, because listen, I've been caught up in that before. You know what I mean? Like you're doing well, okay, and simply because you are passionate about it and you are enjoying what you're doing, it's easy to get caught up in the whole, oh, wow, I have this. Now I want more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when whenever that happens, that's when it's time to take a step back and kind of be like, okay, let's reassess what's going on here. Because it's lifestyle inflation, man. You get really used to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember being excited to get 100 likes on something. You know what I mean? Now, if I get 100,000 likes, I'm like, what did I do wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Your mindset kind of changes, and the
Yes,
numbers really get to you, and
absolutely.
it's really confusing. So I
Yeah.
have lots of respect for what you do, because it's hard to look at the numbers and not think like, oh, is this the end? Like,
Yeah.
like, is this like, because when you get those high numbers, you're like, this is probably just like a temporary thing, and you get like in your head, and it really can mess you up and really divide you from the thing that you love doing.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, if you're making a video and you're thinking, will people like this? Stop what you're doing.
Delete it.
Do you like this? You know what I mean? Do
Yeah.
you like this video? Because if you like it,
doesn't matter.
there's somebody else out there that will like it as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're trying to just please everybody else with your videos, hope that it goes viral, like even I'll tell you this, even if it does that, you're still going to feel terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I made that mistake before where I've thought, oh, what if I did this topic because, I bet a lot of people like this. One of two things happens. It does terrible and you feel terrible, or it does extremely well and you feel terrible. So it's
because it's not what you want to do.
It's a lose-lose situation. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I have an example. I made a video one time about Gatorade. Okay. I like Gatorade. Don't get me wrong. But I was just sitting there kind of like thinking about, man, like I'm running out of topic ideas about things that I like. Like, what's something that everybody would like if I talked about it? And I thought Gatorade. And I just kind of went to the store, grabbed 6 different colors, wrote up some nonsense real quick just to kind of put a video out there. That video got 8 million views, and I never felt worse in my life. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
It's just the reasoning behind why you do something. Once you turn something that you're passionate about into a job, stop that immediately.
Yep.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I like doing this podcast is a byproduct of wanting to when I was younger, and then actually working in commercial radio. And it was exactly what you just said. It was getting to now be behind the curtain of something that I really enjoyed, and realizing very soon after I started there, this is not what I thought it was. This isn't fun. I mean, I was there for 4 years. I mean, it was the best and worst 4 years of my life. But doing this, though, by contrast, because I'm not lining into anybody. Now, granted, we're not getting paid to do this, admittedly, but once money becomes a thing, then it becomes a job, right? And then that sort of takes away the fun element of it. But then it also goes back to what you just said about if you're making one person's day. Well, I know for a fact there are people out there that are really into what we do. And it's one of those things that it doesn't click in my head. And it's still for 15 years hasn't clicked in my head. I know it's there. I recognize it. But at the same time,
how many subscribers you guys have at the time? 750? Something like that?
Yeah, on our YouTube channel. We're in the high 700s.
One thing that kept me humble all along the way, and which is what I think really helped me handle getting this far, was all along the way, I always reminded myself, wow, 750 subscribers. That's 750 human beings who enjoy what you're doing enough to want to see more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lot.
That will grow naturally as you just stay true to yourselves and just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't think about what's the next strategic move. You know what I mean? You reach out to people you like, You have conversations with them. You have conversations amongst yourselves. You record it. You put it out there, and you see what happens, man. I think that's the organic approach is the way to go with anything. If you're trying to, just manufacture the next big thing, even if it does well, it's not going to be worth it. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think you guys are doing exactly what you should be doing.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate that. When you put a video out that does insanely well for you, have you ever had moments where you're like, oh, I didn't really put like a ton of effort into this video. I just kind of, fired blindly at a dartboard, and then that ends up becoming one of your most popular videos. Have you had that happen before? Because that happens to us all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the ebbs and flows of being a content creator, man. It's like I've spent, weeks thinking about a concept and like thinking about what would be the perfect way to do this and the perfect way to do that. And then you post it and it does terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you have a video where you're just like, that would be cool. Bada bing. Throw it out there. Gets millions of views. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all about how people perceive it and respond to it. I mean, it's not up to you in the end. That's why you're better off just doing what you want to do and seeing what happens, because it's not up to you. You can't control what's going to happen at the end of the day with these videos, because you could think that people are going to love it and they may hate it. You may think people are going to hate it and they may love it. When I was making my more, you guys mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if we were recording it at the time, like, I don't just make those table talk videos. I kind of make some of the more emotional, real talk kind of videos when I'm having, back and forth conversations between characters. When I first made those, I was like, this is some weird stuff I'm making. I am so terrified to post this. People are going to unfollow me immediately. And I posted the first one of those that I made, and I got more DMs saying thank you for posting that than I've ever gotten in my entire life.
Nice.
Yeah.
They do well with views. They do well with engagement. The amount of people that relate to those real conversations is overwhelming, to the point where I sometimes just have to put my phone down and be like, holy Jesus, man. You know what I mean? Like this it's crazy.
I can definitely attest to that, because there's been more than a few that I've definitely gotten that same feeling from. And that's part of what, again, I really like about what you do, because you can tell sometimes when you actually meet someone that's like a salt of the earth kind of guy. And if you open up the dictionary and you look up that phrase, you would find Sam Alkhatib in the dictionary, because that's just what it just is how it comes off to. And what I'm curious about, and I'm sure I always go this route with people, just what is it that kind of gave you this perspective on things? And I'm sure that's even a big broad question, but I just feel like you have this groundedness and different level of emotional intelligence that is kind of rare for individuals of our age group generally.
It's almost poetic.
Thank you.
Almost like poetry.
It is good.
You have a background in writing poetry, or
I do not, sadly. It's just one of those. It's one of those things, man. I always loved those more serious parts of the movies. You know what I mean? I always liked those scenes where really got your heartstrings being pulled at and made your emotions start to build up. When I write those, it's usually sparked from some sort of feeling that I'm having. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling alone. I'm feeling something in some way. And then I kind of, just build a scene around it. You know what I mean? I'll think about what's something what's a line that might make me feel better. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You'll notice that my bio, the phrase in my bio says, everything's going to be all right, pal. That was a line in my very first video that I made like that. My real talk videos. It was you know, I was thinking about like, man, like what does somebody need to hear when they're feeling like alone and sad and like nothing's going to get better. And I thought, sometimes people just need to hear that everything's going to be all right. Yeah. And I thought of the line. I built a little scene around it, and it really just struck a chord with people, man. That's why I always just kind of like left that there, so that anytime anybody goes back to my page, that's the first thing they see, is that everything's going to be all right.
And you've got merchandise too that has that on there.
That's my, that's what I want people to get from my channel. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how bad things are going, how terrible you think you are here right now, which means you're doing something correct, and everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, that's
I was laughing just because I remember the video. I was just like, you better not make hats.
Yeah.
Go to the next room.
Well,
Like,
listen,
what do you have there? It's like, it's a hat.
And you get that at stereotypeco.com/Sam.
Listen.
Yes.
Part of me is thinking like I hope if you do any promo for this episode that you do one where Sonny's just like, oh, you're doing a podcast now.
What are you doing a podcast? with Jack, Nate, and Zach, huh? You doing a podcast with those guys? Yeah.
It's so funny. Do you have like any like aspirations to do like brand deals or anything? Because I know like you did like I've done some Starburst stuff, like like the Starburst one is pretty funny.
And I saw State Farm as well a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, State Farm, yeah.
Over there.
Yeah, so a lot of those table talk ones that I do aren't sponsored. Like the Starburst one, I didn't make any money off of that from brand deals, but I have done a few brand deals at this point. I try to be a little choosy about them. Simply one thing that I'm blessed with is the fact that I am a teacher and I do have an income aside from my passion, is because I have that security of just, being able to do whatever I want. A lot of creators, what happens is once they start to get bigger, they start to reach the 100,000 follower, 500,000 follower level, and they start to get offers and things like that. What happens is if you don't have another job, you're really hoping to God that you get another brand deal. You know what I mean? And I never wanted that to be the case. So, I try to just be choosy about the companies that I do deals with. I've done a few so far. I've done one with Burger King, Wendy's. I've done Walmart. I've done State Farm. I've done Dietz and Watson. I've done maybe a couple of others, but like, those are all like bigger names, like people that, I can just kind of work around the fact that they're already established. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have to try and force some nonsense I don't believe in down people's throat just so I can get a paycheck. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that's great.
So I've been blessed with that. I definitely would love to do as many brand deals as possible. When you get up there and following and your engagement is right, the pay is pretty good. And you do a few a year. If you have a big enough following and you're really hustling, you really can make a living off of this stuff. You know what I mean?
It's good stuff too. Like a lot of like the stuff that you create is far better than the stuff I see in like the Super Bowl ads. So like I could totally see you doing that. Like just watching the Super Bowl one day, just a video with you coming up.
Oh
yeah, I could just see that.
I would love that more than anything. Listen, I'm also blessed with my format is perfect for any product you want to place in front of it.
It really is.
What I mean? It's just guys sitting around a table talking about food and drinks. If you're a food and beverage company, you know what I mean? If you see my videos and they're doing well, I mean, it'd be crazy not to want to place your product in front of them. I think that's why a lot of the bigger brands have reached out. You know what I mean? Like it's been phenomenal that I was able to create that style and have it be monetizable. You know what I mean?
And suddenly, thanks to Sam, everyone wants to try Ozempic.
Yeah. And then I just sold out completely. You know what I mean?
It's gonna happen.
I have had some funny companies reach out before. You know, like a lot of vaping brands will reach out, and like alcohol brands, and I had Blue Chew reach out a couple of times.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, you know, like these are the types of things, regardless of the paycheck, I'm going to say no to that stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to hold your you got to have some set of values at some point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Got to understand what your audience is and what you believe in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like all those ads are good for like a NASCAR, but like probably not for you.
Right. Yeah. We're not yet in any position where, you know, we could take brand deals. Now, I would never say no if they came through. However, I think I would say no. And seriously, if like, I don't think any amount of money would change this. I'm not going to name the brand, but there are some brands, I think, if they were to come to me and say, hey, you want to advertise your product on our product on your show, I'd say, I just don't align with your values, man. I don't think I could do that.
So yeah, listen, at the end of the day, like, you know, you don't have to you know, do a bunch of research on the company or anything like that. It's really just about like, do you enjoy this product? If you don't enjoy this product, is it something that isn't harmful to people if you were to let them know about it? You know what I mean? That as long as you stay in that realm, I think you're good. You know what you guys should certainly be focused on, and I'm sure you're thinking about it, you know, daily. Is are you guys qualified for the partner program yet? The YouTube partner program?
No, not yet. That is a goal.
Subscribers.
Yeah, because you got to hit
like 1,000, right?
Well, we're always we meet one requirement right now, and I forget what it is, and it's like two requirements, and
yeah, you need 3,000 hours of watch time and 500 subscribers, I believe. Which you guys have.
Yeah, we have the subscribers. We just don't have the watch time. Yeah, the concurrent watch time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
so that's one of those things that comes with more. The more content you post, you know what I mean? I think about it, 3,000 hours, right? You post 1 hour long video and 300 people watch it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You now have, or hold on, 3,000 people watch it. You know what I mean?
Math.
3,000 views on a video is not crazy to get. You know what I mean? They would have to watch it from start to finish, of course, but even if you get, let's say you get 20,000 views, which is also not a crazy, unachievable number, and 3,000 of those people watch the whole thing, you've now qualified. You know, you get there, you guys build your audience, and you let time do its thing. You stay consistent with it. You guys will never need a brand deal in your lives if you guys do well with this podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You will never have to worry. You could tell everybody to go F themselves if they reach out to you. You'll be getting, you know, if you were to have one video a week, right? And you get to the point where you're getting a consistent fan base of 50 to 100,000 people watching your video from start to finish, you guys can make a legitimate living off of just podcasting. For short form video, that is not the case. I would have to have a video go viral every single day for the rest of my life to make money. You guys can do exactly what you're doing and make a decent living off of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the end goal is one of those fancy silver plaques that I know you have that YouTube sent you.
No.
I can see the spot for like right behind Jack. It's just like it's perfect. It's just for it to sit on the wall there.
Something to replace the RoboCop poster that has followed me from studio to studio. One of those, yeah. Look how shiny that is. That is legit.
That's so good.
You know, it's funny because like, for so long, I wanted this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got it, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Let's make another video. You know what I mean?
It is a lot like getting achievements and like trophies in games, because like you get one and then you're great, and then like umpteen million hours later, when you finally get that platinum, you're just like, I haven't eaten in a couple days
Absolutely.
or drank anything in a couple days.
That was me a few weeks ago. Spider-Man 2. I got that platinum and I put the controller down and I'm just like, that's it. I'm done. I don't need to do anything else now. I don't need to go to work anymore. I don't need to pay mortgage. No, because I got a platinum in Spider-Man 2. I'm good. I have accomplished life.
Yep. Yeah. Take that, IRS.
Oh God, that was yesterday. Oh
yeah.
You just reminded me.
Get on that, man. For sure.
Yeah, I filed my extension yesterday and they accepted it because I waited way too long.
Zach's still on 2020 mindset right here. He's got till October.
My taxes are done like January 15th. You know what I mean?
See, because you are a smart individual, and this is, I'm sure, is why your mother loves being in your videos.
Absolutely.
I want to pivot a couple different directions here, but first I got to ask you about that tattoo I saw on your arm just now.
This one?
Yeah. What do we got?
This right here. This is a pirate ship now, and it actually goes back to those toy train videos I was telling you.
Yeah.
About. This is a nice homage to my humble beginnings with, nice. Content creation. One of the very first things to work for me when it came to making short form content was I had my little toy trains, and there was one character, Teddy, who
was on the pirate ship.
Yes, who was on the pirate ship and would just kind of float, and people loved
worried about you.
And I loved absolutely, and I loved it. It was just fun to make, and it was really the thing that kind of like it was the first little shtick that I became known for, and so I just, as a way to kind of pay homage to that, I got a tattoo.
Nice.
Was that your first tattoo or second?
No, I've had a few tattoos. I have a tattoo on my chest. I got one on my arm. This was maybe my fourth tattoo. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't really have a sleeve yet or anything, but I have just little spits and spurts of tattoos all over the place. You know what I mean?
The pirate ship design too. That's what your merch at stereotypeco.com/Sam has on the shirts, the patches, and the hats.
Absolutely, yes. That's what I based it all off of. Yeah, it was just a little toy boat that I found at a thrift store. Paid $5 for it, brought it home. I was like, what's something cool I could do with this? Threw one of the trains on there, tied some tooth floss to the front, pulled it across, had them talking on it, and that was it. You know what I mean?
That's good.
Do you have any tattoos that you wish you didn't have?
So I will say this. I have this tattoo on the inside of my arm.
Yes.
And it's supposed to say peace, but I'm pretty sure it says like sesame chicken combo or something.
Probably.
Which,
if we're being honest, that kind of is peace.
You know what I mean?
Is there anything more peaceful than a good meal?
It brings me peace, sesame chicken combo.
Sesame chicken combo is really good.
He gets it translated and it says, be sure to drink your Ovaltine, and we're right back to brand deals. And then there's got to be either a band or a genre of music that you listen to amp yourself up when you're getting ready to make a new video. What would that be?
Honestly, I'm so all over the place with my music. 1 minute I'm listening to like 2 Chainz and Kanye West, and the next I'm listening to like some obscure like upstate New York pop punk band. You know what I mean? Then I'm listening to oldies music. Then I'm listening to like Katy Perry. Then I'm listening to Blink 182. It's just like
I get you. Yep, I'm the same way.
Like, I am not one of those like this is my genre and that's that. Like I am just whatever I'm in the mood for, man. You know what I mean? If I'm honest, if I'm really trying to get like amped up for something, I never really need to get amped up to make a video, I will say. But if I'm trying to get amped up for something, I'm usually listening to like some Breaking Benjamin or like Metallica or something like that. You know what I mean? Something heavy to just kind of get my head moving and my body flowing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Have you checked out Metallica's most recent album? I want to say it's new, but it's got to be about like a couple years old now at this point.
I have
like I don't think it's a year.
On Enter Sandman or Turn the Page. Those are the kind of the 2 songs that really kind of get me going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, their album 72 Seasons is, I would argue, in the same vein as their Black album, where, you know, the songs that you just listed is right there. I think it's the strongest effort they've put out in, oh God, 30 years.
I love that.
It's crazy to think about that.
Well, listen, start to finish.
Yeah, so I just have one final question for you. It's kind of like it's kind of cliche, but like, what's next for Sam? What's next? Like, what do you like? What do you like? For me, it was like I kind of want to write for like a TV show or be on Saturday Night Live, like that kind of stuff. Like, do you have like goals like that, or are you just kind of like living your day one life at a time?
There's the dreams I have for, like, you know, what I would want to do, and then there's just kind of what I plan on doing. You know, what I plan to do is exactly what I'm doing. Just making videos as I feel like making them, having fun doing it. You know what I mean? Like there are moments in life where I kind of feel myself not having fun, and I'm trying to learn to be better at, like, you know, kind of taking a pause when I feel like that. You know, you can get very caught up in the whole I have to make content mindset. More recently, I've had to very much get into the, like, okay, you don't have to do anything. You know what I mean? This is not a requirement. Just have fun with it. So I certainly plan on just continuing to make videos as I have fun making them. Whenever I feel like making one, make it. I would love to transcend short form content in some way. I would love to act or voice act or write for a show or something along those lines. Write a movie with somebody or something in that realm, you know? So yeah, so as far as what I'm going to be doing is just continuing to make videos and hopefully people continue to enjoy them.
I think you've got a very unique voice that would do very well for voice acting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like even playing just like generic New Yorker number 5. I mean, you could do it perfectly.
Absolutely. 100%, and that's what I was born to do. You know what I mean? Generic.
I'm so amazed that, like, so you don't have any like acting background or anything, because like you're like, it's solid like acting, like it's.
Thank you.
You don't like break. And the thing that I really appreciate about your videos is that you didn't put like a voice for each character. It was like per se, like it's not like one guy is like this and then one guy's like this, and like, you know, because like that kind of ruins the flow sometimes, and it just seems like you had that instinct to be like, let's just keep it casual and like just keep it fresh.
One thing I love is that, you know, I've started to take note. You do something long enough, you start to really get into the nitty-gritty and details of it, and you start to really understand why things are working and why they are. I started to realize, like, by just kind of being me but a little different with each of the characters that I do.
Yeah.
You know, it's really at the end of the day, it's quite literally me. And then the characters are just, you know, who I am, but just a little different. One's a little sad, one's a little goofy, one's a little angry, one's a little stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it's just all these things just tweaked a little bit. And I've learned that by doing that, people interpret it as, you know, their different sides all having a conversation, or them and their friends who are a little different but very similar. You know what I mean? So like, it's like art, like it's up for interpretation for everybody, you know? And I really love it.
It's really well done. So.
And it works really well when you just like start like slipping a couple people that are just friends in. It just works so well. It's such a good format.
Yeah. I appreciate it, boys. I appreciate you saying all that.
Let me play this really quick as we approach the end of this installment of Hardly Focused.
This is the end. Hardly Focused.
The end. As we wrap this up, one question I had that's kind of burning my mind here for you, Sam, is have you ever felt that you needed to get controversial at all, or really post any sort of controversial topic to rack in the views?
Never. Never. That's just not my thing, man. I like that my channel is a place where you can just come to unwind, kind of like we did when we were kids, when we would turn on our favorite cartoon shows, man. Just to watch something, just to watch it and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll leave that to somebody else. You know what I mean? Somebody who's really into that sort of stuff. Sometimes you do need to be controversial. Sometimes you're passionate about a controversial topic. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a nice break from reality, man. Like
Yeah.
just going on there, it's like it's almost like therapy a little bit. It's just like it's comfort, and it's like that's
Comfort is the word that I would use. That's what I'm going for on there. Just a place to just some comfort.
it's very you got it.
Like, yeah,
it's like a nice little. It's like a blanket. You're just like it's nice tucked
like,
in, and
that's the thing that I love that has kind of been born out of like COVID in that time. Like there's a lot of people that we've talked to, and a lot of people that I've heard who've just like kind of got their things started in the midst of that. And there's something I think very unifying in the fact that we all recognize the need for these niches, because I am of the opinion that, like, you know, one, there's certain content creators where like, do you really want them to like make this now their time, or they have a position on something? Like they could like that, and if they want to, great, but like I just feel like it is important to at least be true to what your values are and be representative of the niche that you're representing. And you know, you don't have to do things out loud to be supportive of the things that you care about. Also, that's the thing that I think everybody else also feels like has that societal specter on top of them that they have to do.
Absolutely. I think you said it perfectly, man.
Nate, did you have any final thoughts?
No, I don't want to have final thoughts. I just kind of want to stay in this Zen peace of mind that I finally have achieved. You know, like it's just so like I appreciate what you do. I appreciate what you make, and I'm glad it brings you joy. Like I'm so glad it brings you joy because for me, when I was making videos, I cared a little bit too much about like what other people wanted to do, or like what I thought other people would want me to do. And I think that's the key to what you're doing, is that you just do it because you love it. You do it because you just, you know, you're passionate about it. And it's not, you don't let the world dictate what you do, and you just put it out there. So
I appreciate you saying this, and I appreciate all your perspectives on it, because one thing I will say is, as somebody who makes videos, you know, I make most of my videos by myself. I just do it all by myself, and I'm left to the interpretation of what I think other people are thinking about this stuff. So to hear firsthand from people that they truly do enjoy it, it really does mean a lot to me. So I appreciate that.
Nate, don't forget, you still have your Space Bear comedy channel on YouTube. That is hardlyfocused.com/Nate.
I just haven't posted anything in forever, man. It's hard because like when you're working really hard, and that's the other part I respect, is when you make something that you're passionate about, that you really love, and you're like, I work so hard and I love it, and you put it out there and it gets like 100 views as opposed to like 1,000. You're like, people don't want to see that. They want to hear their opinions on Minecraft or.
Well, Nate, I just went to make sure the URL still worked. I just went to hardlyfocused.com/Nate because I haven't plugged it in probably 3 years. But the last video you posted 3 years ago, do you know you have over 30,000 views on that video?
That's a good number.
I kind of just left it. The views and everything like that started getting to me, man.
We have come full circle, though.
Yeah.
30,000's not, that's not a small number, man.
I'll keep working on it. Cause it's inspiring to hear, to do the things that you want to do, not what other people want to do. There were certain aspects that I really loved doing about those videos, and others, like, it had to be perfect. It had to be like spotless. It had to be clean. It's like, that's not me. I just have these ideas. I just want to do it and just get it out there. So it's very inspiring talking to you.
I appreciate it, brother. It was great to be talking with all of you as well.
Yeah, you've been great. It was an honor to have you here on Hardly Focused.
And a pleasure to have you again.
Yeah, honor to be here, boys. You guys were great.
Sam Alkhatib, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
You can find him, the real Sam Alkhatib, on TikTok, on Instagram. He's on YouTube. Buy one of his shirts, one of his patches, one of his hats, stereotypeco.com/Sam.